So, welcome back to the Honey Podcast. We are here again this week, and we have two special guests today joining us. I'm Dani, that's Celine. We have Bibi from the THP, and we have Roy English of Jagwar Twin, and he is a musician turned meditation guru. And we are just going to talk about all the awesome stuff that you've got going on today. All right. So, Celine, you want to get us started with our first question for it?
Yes. Well, first of all, Roy, thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Yes.
All of us at the Honey Pop are huge fans of you, and yeah, we all love you here. So this is very, very exciting. But you did touch on it briefly already. Like we know you do your weekly meditation, so I just wanted to see like what kind of inspired that journey to start, and how you decided to like, oh hey, I want to include my fans with this meditation. Like, how did that come about?
Mm. I mean, I've always been, even since I was a kid, like just fascinated with everything. And when I was younger too, I always was just like, I grew up kind of like a conservative Christian family, but I was like, I always know there's something here, like I feel God, like my physically, like and it's like, but I don't know what it is. And then there was sort of a disconnect, as I got older. I was like, I feel this still, but it's like I see like what are the fruits of the people who follow this particular thing, and everyone's different, and this is a broad generalization, but I was like, I want to search more. So I started just looking at, and my parents are amazing. They're like, if you seek truth, you will find it. Doesn't matter what it looks like just look for truth, go out and explore. And that's a beautiful thing for your parents to say. um, so I did, and I just looked at like different religions around the world, different cultures, different practices, and I found so much awesome stuff, and a lot of stuff that's like, I don't know about that. But kind of through that, I of course, meditation is a huge thing. And a few years ago, I was like, oh, let me check out what this thing is. And honestly, it was so incredibly difficult for me. I couldn't, like, for 5 minutes, like, let me just meditate for 5 minutes. And it was my brain just like on thinking about a million things. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not one of those meditators. But for some reason, and I have this, but I know everybody has this. It's this thing where like when you feel drawn to something, like I've learned to now listen to that, because when I haven't listened to that, it's always led me down a wrong path. So I'm just like, well, I feel like I should do this. So let me just do 5 minutes a day, and whatever. If I sit here and it's wasted time and I'm thinking about whatever, that's fine. But over the course of a few years, it just got a little longer. Maybe 5 minutes turned to 10 minutes, and whatever. And um, for me, it wasn't about meditating even. It was about what meditation does in your waking life and with your relationships, and asking questions, and getting answers. And so, just kind of continued down along that. And here I am. I definitely wouldn't say, you said guru, but I'm absolutely not a guru. And I don't want to be even perceived as a guru, because I don't know anything, and uh, I'm not that. I'm asking questions, and I'm learning just like everybody is.
That is awesome though. Like
Yeah.
that's such like a cool thing.
Outlook.
I'm the same way, like as when you start, like when it's like 5 minutes, I'm like, being still by myself for 5 minutes seems like so long, but I'm sure it get like you said, it'll get easier. I know in your meditations and just in general, you do talk about finding your authentic self. Do you have advice for those who are struggling to find their authentic self, and how did you come to find yours?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Elaine, because it's like, I think it's one of the most important things, and we need it in the world. People to be living in their authentic selves. And I know just from personal experience, which is all I can speak to from my perspective, is there was so long and so many years where I was not living as my authentic self. in every way, but even just, you know, this is a music podcast, and as it relates to music, it's like I was making songs that I thought other people would want to hear, lyrics that I thought, oh, this might be popular, or I could see people singing this, or the record label executive might like this, or whatever it was. But it wasn't just like me going into a situation where it's like, I feel this and I need to say this. And this is the way that I think about things. Doesn't mean it's the only way or the right way, but it is the way that I see and feel things. And I really believe that if everybody was to do that on the planet, like we would have world peace. But what happens is then we edit ourselves because we're like, well, this person might think this, or we wear these kind of masks to try to fit in. But everyone is such this beautiful expression of the universe. And I just think it's so important that we do that and see each other that way. When you look at somebody else, even if you don't feel like you like them or agree with them, like look into their eyes and say, like, that's a reflection of me, whether you like it or not. You couldn't perceive this, say, negative thing that you see in this person unless it was a part of your self that you had not dealt with yet, that you had not integrated into the whole. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because then you can truly love somebody where they're at and not feel like you have to change them. And that's just them living their authentic self, or maybe they're not living their authentic self, and that's what really bothers you. And oftentimes that may be what it is, but then it's like, well, how am I not integrating my authentic self? It's like it's a daily thing to grapple with, at least for me.
I think that's such an important message for like not only your fans and our fans, but like people in general. Like it's so often we tailor to society and the way that we think they want or what they want, and like that's not what it's all about, you know? It's so much more than that. And once you start finding like your place and music to create for like yourself, not other people and what other people want to hear, it's so much more passionate and awesome.
Yeah, and people have a bullshit meter, you know, like
Yeah.
with music, definitely. Like if you hear a song, like, I don't really feel that artist. You might not know why, but like, and maybe the song's good and the voice is good and the music's good, but maybe you don't resonate with it. But it's the same thing in like when you meet a person. It's like, oh, they're not telling the truth of who they are. Like something feels off or inauthentic. And even if they're really nice and whatever, it's like, what is that? And we have that. But what's amazingly freeing is when you are just yourself, whether you're like a super nerd or whether you like think a lot or whatever it is. If you just be that, you become like a sun. You have this gravitational pull because people go, whoa, and it's going to look different for every single person. You might see someone, maybe they're a celebrity, or maybe they're a teacher, or maybe they're anybody, doesn't matter, just like a person. But there's always those people we see and you're pulled into them because they're just being their authentic self, and they all look different. And if we be that in our individual selves, that same effect happens. But that's not the reason you do it. You do it to be you. And it feels so good. Like it's complete freedom. And then people love you for who you are, because I've also had the opposite of that, where people start to like you for the role you're playing, for the character you're playing. And that's not a good feeling. And you see that a lot in culture, where, and sometimes it's with someone who becomes really, really famous, but playing something that's not them. And then all of a sudden they're like in this isolated kingdom where like there's walls and they're stuck and everyone thinks they're this one person, but like, man, that's a scary place to be in. Anyway, that was a big tangent.
It's so much more to a person. They're so much more complex. It's like awesome to hear that outlook, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like that is like a big journey to even just go on to find your authentic self. Because I know after like big life changes, sometimes you're just like stuck in a mirror where you're just like, who am I? Like, I don't even know right now. Like it's pretty crazy. Like that's really, really cool. for lack of a better word. But one thing I do admire about you is that you really do have a really awesome connection with your fans. Everything from your meditation, interacting on Twitter, Instagram, Discord. I just think that's really cool, and I just wanted to bring that up really quick because I think it's very unique for artists to build that connection with their fan base. So yeah, just really quick aside.
Yeah, you know, I don't look at it as like connecting with fans, honestly. I look at it as like, here's all these human beings on planet Earth. And you know, we met because I make music, and that's great. But it's so much bigger to me than like, here's some fans and let's connect on social media. It's like, I want to see this human because to me, and I believe this is the truth, or at least is my perspective of the truth right now. It's that every single human on the earth is linked. We're the same consciousness, just spread out. And then, you know, but like we're quantumly linked, like, and that's the science now. It's like there's one consciousness, and we're all emanations of that one consciousness. So the more that we can know each other and different perspectives, it's like, I want to connect with human beings all over the world, because it's like, it helps me to know myself, like, wow, that's a cool perspective. But then it helps them to know their selves, like, oh, wow, that's a cool perspective too. And it's like, the more we know each other and love each other from that pure place of just like seeing another human, like that's beautiful to me. Like, I want to do that as much as possible. And I feel so blessed that I can just make music, and that's sort of the vehicle to do that. But even if I wasn't making music, I would want to do that. Just like meet new people like yourselves right now, and like we'll have a conversation, and hopefully in every conversation you leave the conversation and the world has changed a little bit, meaning your perspective shifts every time you have a conversation with someone. You know, if you're being authentic, like I hope we are all now, and I know we are all now, and it's your perspective shifts, the world changes because of that, and you take that into your next day, and so on and so on.
That's definitely a lot to digest. I think that's really, really cool. And is that like kind of what you mean by when you say like hall of mirrors, like just everyone looking at each other and absorbing from other people? Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah. It's the hall of mirrors is this idea that when you look at first it starts with like knowing yourself and knowing deeply, like even the subconscious things that go on in your mind, and it's a constant, you know, daily thing. And so you can look at yourself and be like, man, like I love this person in the mirror, you know. But then goes beyond that, and it's like, well, then looking at others as your mirrors and as reflections, and we're all reflections of each other. You know, it's the classic thing is like, you know, love your neighbor as yourself, or do unto others as you would do unto you. And it's said thousands of ways across the world in different ways. But that's the idea of look at this person as if you're looking in the mirror, and that is an emanation of you, because I believe that's the reality of it. And we're all reflecting each other. And it's like, you know, oftentimes if I experience tension, say in the studio, like working with another producer or an artist, and there's something we maybe disagree on, different perspectives, it's like, instead of, you know, maybe in the past, or what people do in today's society sometimes is they're wrong, I want to change them, they need to agree with me. It's like, hold on, that's not the way that this reality, let's say, works. It's their perspective is valid, my perspective is also valid. How do we then I'll use the word alchemize this this relationship where, okay, I see what you're getting at, and if they see what you're getting at, let's find the like what we're doing together. And it's that dynamic tension. It's like the yin and the yang, or like the positive and the negative forces, like a battery. You know, you need both. And it causes dynamic tension to then, that's all creation comes from. That's how you have a child. You need a masculine force and a feminine force to create a child. And that's just the principles of the universe and the nature. And so kind of using those elements in our daily conversation. I don't want to get too off into this like, you know, world, but that's sort of the Hall of Mirrors ideas, is seeing others as reflections of ourselves.
So I've heard you mention something about also like linking consciouses. Do you use that in your music as well? And like, do you like correlate to that to the mirror, like the mirroring thing as well?
What do you mean?
So like, as far as like linking consciouses, like when you're talking to someone and you like link into their conscience, like how do you like use that in your music to create? Like, do you use that in your music to create?
Well, it's not a thing that I just do and I
right
power that I link to everyone's conscious.
Right.
Everybody is doing that at all times. Every single human being on earth is linked. It's just whether you're aware of it or not. You know, like the feeling right now as we're having this conversation is like, we all, you know, say I wasn't here and the three of you were talking, there would be a different feeling and different words and different things flowing. That's your consciousness is linking. Or if you have a best friend and you're just having a conversation, and it's not really, it's not about the words necessarily. It's like the shape of the words. And then you know what the person's feeling and you communicate that way. But then if you speak to another person, your words might be different, but it's because you're kind of like, I don't like using the word telepathic because that's not really what I mean, but it's beyond just language. I don't know if that answers the question.
No, yeah, it does. I think that's like, it was an interesting to me, like train of thought. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about it. So that answers my question.
I know you recently did this really cool campaign for Happy Face, which is a phenomenal song. I love it. Where you had to like sit and smile at a camera. Like, how did you come up with that? I think that's such a cool marketing thing, and it felt like really cool to like challenge yourself to listen to the song early. So how did that come about?
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, my best friend, who's also my manager, we wanted to do something that like really, because the song has so much depth in it. I'm like, well, but it also is fun. And so how do we do this experience that is fun to do, but also holds a mirror to the person on the other side of the mirror? So we came up with this concept that you smile and you have to hold it for 3.5 or whatever long minutes, and it's incredibly difficult to do. Actually, like you think it's like, oh yeah, I can just smile, but like 30 seconds in, you're like, oh man, like, this is really hard. But it does something in your brain when you smile, that like it actually changes the chemistry of your brain to feel better and release release serotonin and certain things. So it was a cool experiment seeing if we could do that. And then also like on the screen, there's sort of some dystopian kind of like strange images and dark things and funny things, but like your brain is doing a lot of stuff. And there's just a bunch of symbols and cool things, but it was a fun experiment. And it's kind of a way for us to bring people into like this world, into this story.
I spent a long time trying to get to the 3 minutes because I couldn't do it. It hurt. My face hurt of trying to just smile so I could hear the whole song and then get to the like merch that was after it, which was incredible. I love your merch. But yeah, I think it really connected with me, and it was a very fun experience to have to smile to listen to a song. It was great.
I'm gonna have to try that after this. I'm just gonna be sitting
It
at my
was
desk.
really cool.
And the portals inside the website, I could only find one that was about Plato's allegory of the cave.
Oh
Only one I
yeah.
could find. It's so interesting, like the reality and what's real and what's not. It's very interesting.
Yeah. What did you take away from that Plato's allegory for yourself?
Took a lot. I remember after that, during the Jaguar Twin meditation, I asked you and Philip about it, about like how do we know what's real and what's not, and what's like because I could be like, oh yeah, this is real, but like maybe it's not. And then we kind of got to the, like we all said that it's kind of what you decide what's real and what's not for you. And I think that's awesome, and it's a great way to see the universe.
Yes. Because basically it's this if you watch it, it's telling the story of kind of like the from day one since we were born, and it kind of goes back generations, but anything, especially right now, that we perceive is coming through maybe your phone or a television or your computer. um and so, like, how do you discern what's real, especially right now when things are so polarized, and this side is saying this side is nuts, and this side is saying this side is nuts, and it's like, what is real and how do you really know? And what Bibi's saying is like running it through your own heart and your own intuition, and not it just because someone on your phone or on your computer says something is the truth doesn't mean it's so. You can look into it on any side, look into it, explore. But if you're looking for the truth, you will find it. And there's a feeling that you can feel. Everybody can feel it. And you got to trust your own inner guidance.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think I've never kind of thought about it before listening to the Plato's Allegory of the Cave. And after that, it kind of changed a lot of how I see things and how I like think about them. And I think it's great.
That's beautiful. I'm so happy you discovered that portal.
I love that. Is there any more portals? Because I only find that one.
Yeah.
I've seen every single thing in that website, and I have not got into any other portals.
Yeah, we're actually to have a new song that's going to be coming out soon, and we're developing and getting all the experience for this new one in different portals too. So there'll be even more experiences.
Excited. Yeah, I'll be clicking through everything so I can find the portals.
Yes. I love leaving little candies.
It's awesome. I think it makes it so much special for us to listen to the song, because it's not only like, oh, you listen, like he released the song and we'll listen to it and that's it. You feel so much more connected because you like have to smile and have to find the portals and have to do all these things. It really builds up a good relationship and a good, yeah, like a good relationship with you. It's awesome.
And it's also a way to like get into to well, let's get into my head in some ways, but get into like everybody's head, because everyone has a different unique perspective that's important. And when you release a song and it's like cool, but then if these things kind of allow people to like getting way deeper on the song and the message and the meaning underneath it, in a rich way, because songs are so powerful. They're like connection points. But like, if you also see a song like in a movie, like, or a score, it's like even more powerful. Like I was watching Harry Potter, it's like the visuals are awesome and the story is awesome, but then you have the music, and it's like they're all elements to this thing. So it's yeah, I love different ways to tell the same story. You can go deeper.
It's such a cool creative experience. It's like so unique to you too. So I think that's really awesome. I've never seen an artist like do as much cool stuff as you do. So keep that going.
Yeah, and I think that is something that really like you have a very special connection with everyone that listens to you. Like you have you have the Discord, and you're always like tweeting about it. You did the Jagwar Twin meditation, and you're always like, replying to your comments on Instagram and on Twitter, and it builds up such a special connection with like us, the fans. And then doing this type of things with your music makes it even more special. And I think that's something I really appreciate about you and your music.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You're a legend.
She is, isn't she?
Agreed. While we're on the topic of Happy Face, I know that song is going pretty viral right now in Japan, as well as like the rest of your catalog. Do you have any messages or anything for any of your Japanese fans?
I'm so happy that Japan is responding in this way. I've always just like loved Japan. I've never been there, but it's like it's on my list, and it has been for so long. Yeah, honestly, I don't know all how it happened, although, you know, just in my mind, I've always been like, I want to go to Japan. I want to tour in Japan so much. And so I'm just excited because now that's definitely going to happen when the world opens up again, which hopefully is soon. I'm super excited. I also, one of the things I really loved coming out of was this band Pentagon played some I think like a few like Shine and Happy Face, and I think also Loser in one of the members Yuto's live stream, and like he's a legend, but I checked out the music because of that, because people were tweeting like about this band Pentagon. So I was like, well, I gotta check it out. And I listened to the music and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. So I've been just vibing on that. There's this song Basquiat that I'm just like, what? It's so good. So I love even just discovering new music out of it. Well, I mean, I guess they're Korean, but Japanese fans like this band Fakey. Oh my gosh, like I'm just discovering a whole new world.
From Pentagon, I've recently listened to Beautiful Goodbye. I think I've had it on repeat for a while. It's a very good song. They're very good.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're really good.
I'm a fan now.
We actually recently just wrapped an episode of K-pop with our team, and it's like a new thing that we've been, well, not we, but me personally have been getting into, and it's just a whole amazing world of music that like I never knew existed, and it's so awesome. So it's really cool that you bring up that band, because I know I'll be checking that out for sure.
Yeah, K-pop is so, and crazy. I mean, I guess it was like the bridge of like, okay, let's check out some Japanese music, because it started also responding in Korea, and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah. There's like this there's this link, so then I got into like some of the K-pop stuff, and it's like it's so cool how different the genres are.
Right.
It's just like it's beautiful. I love learning new
crazy
things.
It's so insane to know that there's all these sub genres inside of K-pop. That's like was one of my mind-blowing things. So it's crazy that you said that, because I totally agree with that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've been recently listening to K-pop because I think when I first heard of K-pop, I was so quick to judge, and I was like, I'm not going to listen to it. Yeah. And then you guys made a podcast before, like on season 1 of the podcast about K-pop. And I started listening to it, and then I started getting more into it, and now I'm listening to it, and I really enjoy it. It's really good, and it's very different from like the rest of the things I've heard, and I love it. It's awesome.
And the music videos are like,
I was just gonna say, the experience. they do create an experience. It's crazy that
good.
Their dance moves, the way they dress, like, oh my gosh, just everything about K-pop is like amazing. And I was the same way, Bibi. I was like, I'm a big like pop punk fan, which I say every episode, but like I was like, no way am I gonna get into this. And then Ibby, like, she gave us the rundown, and it's just like insane how talented K-pop artists are. It's just amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
I know Ibby will love to hear us say that. All of us say that.
Yeah.
We're making her day right now.
I love Bibi. So I know that you're in the studio as well right now. How is that going? Like, I'm so excited for what's coming.
It's been like really, really beautiful. This is by far like the music I've been the most excited about creating. Just diving like so deeply into myself and like what needs to be said, what needs to be brought out and brought to life, and then how to say it. I've been working with Matt Pauling, who did a lot of the last album with me, and he's so amazing, and he's so great because he pushes me so much. It's like, no, like, let's beat it, we can beat it, we can beat it. And I love that, you know, like it's back to like that dynamic tension when it's like, no, we can beat it, we can beat it. It's like, oh, but I love it. It's like, all right, cool, I'll beat it. Like it's, yeah, just beat it. It's he's great. And I'm just excited. That's all I can say. I can't really say much because no one heard the music, but it's great.
I have to ask, is the song you played during the last meditation gonna be in the next things coming? Like, are you gonna release it?
I am gonna release it. It won't be the next single, but it's on the album. It's definitely on the album, and we'll probably release it before. But that song,
it's beautiful.
I love that song.
Okay, so for the people who don't know,
I know, giving us the secrets.
During the Jagwar Twin meditation, they played this amazing song. It's so calm and so beautiful. I love it. And they played it, I think, twice during the last 2 meditations. It's a great song, and I just can't wait for everyone to hear it because it's absolutely amazing.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Do you have any like planned collabs that we can expect on the next album? Any that you can say?
We'll have to see.
Okay.
That's a fair answer. We'll accept that.
That's exciting. I am so excited for what's to come. Your music, it's so good. Like, for lack of a better word, I love it. Like,
and you have a very awesome voice. Very awesome. It's like like Bibi said, it's super relaxing and calming. So I'm excited to see what's to come as well. And I think by the look on your face, we've got some cool collabs coming too that you can't quite tell us yet.
I can't.
That's fair. It's fair. But I am excited for sure.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Okay, I do have to ask one question because it was on our list, and I'm really curious because we didn't hit it yet. So you call yourself, you have a nickname for yourself. It's, what is it, Celine? Chef Roy RD?
Chef Roy RD.
I had to bring it up. I'm sorry, but with that, can you give us some of your like favorite things to cook, like, or a little insight on that nickname because it's awesome.
I have a lot of nicknames. That's one of many. Chef Roy RD. I cook a meal.
Awesome.
And it sounds simple, but it's not. My toast, unbeatable.
Toast
What's the secret to a good toast?
Yep. It's about like the bread. You got to get the right bread choice. Fresh, bakery, all organic, like right out, just like 3 ingredients in the bread. And then, you know, So you can do so many things.
You can. There's like jam and jelly and butter and all kinds of stuff.
So many ways.
I made, this is a good toast. I did the other day. I used like really good bread, and then like sourdough. It was just like, wheat, flour. Actually, is there flour in bread? I don't know what's in bread.
I don't know.
Things in bread. There's bread in bread. I used that. I did avocado. And then I did like, a little sea salt. You can do little radishes if you want to. Some sunflower seeds on top. And then the key, though, is I used kumquats. They're like little tiny, almost like oranges, like citrus, but they have this really interesting flavor. And I squeezed kumquat juice on the avocado toast. Nobody's doing that.
That is like some chef stuff right there.
Try that out. It sounds good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's why he's Chef Royardee. Like that's.
I'm honestly glad I asked that question now.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. We wanted to say a huge thank you for coming out and talking to us, giving us some insight and talking about new music. We love that. Love to see it. So yeah, this is another episode of the Honey Podcast, and this is Dani and Celine, Bibi, and Roy, and we thank you guys so much. And we'll see you soon.